Good evening. My name is Svein Ola, and I'm going to tell you the story about how I changed the way I talk about climate action. It all began 3 years ago when I was in the military. I went to the gym 2-3 times a week. I ate twice as much as everybody else and 3 times as much meat because I wanted to gain weight and become stronger. And after a typical day in the gym, my muscles would need another 5 to 6 days to recover before I could work out on the same muscle group again. And sadly, after a year of this routine, my workouts started stagnating. I wanted to run longer, but my body was too tired, and in order to improve my maximum strength, I would need at least 2 workouts on each muscle group every week. But when your muscles are aching for 6 days, that's very hard. At the same time, I was trying to figure out ways to reduce my carbon footprint. And I soon found out that reducing my meat consumption would make a great difference. As you may have heard, we import hundreds of thousands of tons of soy each year for the meat industry. And in addition to the emissions caused by the shipping, the production of soybeans is the main reason for deforestation in the Amazon rainforest. So for this reason, I started having some meat-free Mondays, and some Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and not long was the meat-loving me a vegetarian. And something happened that I didn't expect. To my surprise, my workout recovery time went down. My muscles were no longer aching for more than a day, and I was no longer tired after dinner, even though I ate the same amount of food, and sometimes more. And within a year, I gained 8 kilos of muscle weight. I ran my first marathon, and I performed better at every exercise in the gym. If I knew about these benefits, it would have been so much easier to reduce my meat consumption earlier. And in addition to all this, the Norwegian Health Council have estimated that we could save as much as 30 billion Norwegian kroners if we reduce the amount of red and processed meat that we eat. So we should embrace meat-free canteens and vegetarian alternatives. And another good thing with decreased meat consumption is that it will reduce food shortage. A lot of the food that could be used to fight hunger in the world is given to animals. And only in Norway, we import enough protein from corn and beans to feed 7.5 million people, only to be given to animals. And from the animals, we only get a fraction of the protein that we Norwegians need. Why do we import more food than we need in the first place? And if we absolutely have to import food, why don't we just eat the food directly? We could save so many people from starving if we just didn't have to feed our food. So we as individuals should eat less meat because there's a great possibility that our health will benefit from it. And we as Norwegians should eat less meat because we can save plenty of money on healthcare. And all the countries in the world should come together and focusing on reducing the meat consumption because it will help fight world hunger. And although we have all these appealing reasons to eat less meat, what we most often hear is eat less meat for the environment. And after looking into it, I started noticing that this way of approaching is very common. Use the public transport for the environment. Upgrade your house on energy efficiency to lower your carbon footprint. Or buy quality products to avoid overconsumption. And yes, we should do all these things, but we should focus on what we can gain from changing our habits and not what we lose. We must leave the thought that we are doing a sacrifice when we are doing an act for climate. In fact, a lot of the actions against climate change will actually create a better situation than the one we are currently living in. I hope 2020 will be the year when we start focusing on the positive outcome of climate actions rather than using the same old approach and expect a different outcome. Because as we know, most people don't like to vote to avoid a bad future. They want to vote for a better one. And most people wouldn't want to change their habits only to combat global warming. But they are more than willing to do it when they have something to win. So the next time we want to convince a friend to take the train instead of driving the car, we shouldn't use the CO2 argument. We should rather say, take the train, because on the train you have time to replay all your emails before reaching the office. Or you can put on some music and relax so that you will be well rested when we arrive. And in fact, most of this speech was written on a train trip. So the next time we talk about climate action, we must remember to mention the good things. Because, once again, most people don't like to vote to avoid a bad future. They want to vote for a better one. And most people wouldn't want to change their habits only to combat global warming. But they are more than willing to do it when they have something to win. Thank you very much.